morning. How are the lovely people of the tribe?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The lovely people of the tribe.
Yeah, well, when you're about to face another 8 hours of driving today, you would too be a little,
Yeah,
a little delusional.
I'll be doing 500 miles or 600 miles this weekend just in a 30-year-old car. So with 450 other 30-year-old cars.
Yeah, that'll be rough.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
Morning,
let's see here.
gentlemen.
Oh,
Good
there's
morning,
Steve.
Steve.
All right, well, I'm going to get rolling here. So, and people will add on as we do. Again, just for those who might not know, we're not going to have a meeting on Friday because Trent's lovely and talented daughter will be graduating from college, and him and Kerry and the family are going to go, and rightfully so, go support her in her graduation. So, congratulations. But Friday, no 3 o'clock meeting and no morning edge. So, just I know it sounds repetitive, but some people might not know it. We don't want them to be surprised by that. This how the market finished yesterday. Dow was down and S&P, NASDAQ up. A lot of hype around Micron and such. The rose, let me see what I got here. Oh, NASDAQ and S&P jumped to record highs as Micron topped $1 trillion and SK, whatever, Hynix or whatever from Korea is also now a $1 trillion market cap. Micron is now the 11th largest U.S. publicly traded company. Since March 30th, Micron's up 170%, which is insane. But if you're on that ride, congratulations. That's awesome. Micron drove the bulk of the S&P gains yesterday. It contributed 19 points to the 46-point gain in the S&P. So, almost little under half of the S&P was because of Micron yesterday. So just bear with that a little bit. What else we got here? Let's just go look at oil. Oil is down because the war is over, obviously, and ships are passing through the Strait of Hormuz like a hot knife through butter. Actually, that's not true. I still don't know what's going on there, but the markets are taking it that way. And of course, the bonds are down a little bit. We got the U.S. 10-year now below 4.46%. Usually, bonds are more inflation oriented, and it's still, I think, inflation last time the PPE came out, it was 3.8%. We get PCE tomorrow. It's the preferred inflation monitor of the Fed. We'll see what happens then. If we go into bonds a little bit, let's go see what the 30-year looks like. Let's see if it's still over 5 or around 5. Let's come down here. No, there's 30 is right at 5. So we're still at 5 on the 30. Back, let's look at like oil. Oil's down below 90 on West Texas, and Brent's at 95. So a little bit of a dichotomy between those two. Crypto down on Bitcoin, 75,000. Ethereum up, Solana up a little bit. And we'll go look at gold, and gold and silver are down. So it's interesting. The markets are up basically on a very narrow breadth. Semiconductors and AI type stocks, and everything else is kind of downish. What else do I got? We got 56.6% of stocks trading above the 50, but we have 50.2%, so over half trading below the 200. So when you look at the market in general, half the market is considered in a bear market technically. So let me get out of that. Come over here, look at some headline news here from yesterday. And of course, this was a big deal. Micron hit $1 trillion market cap. It surged 18%. It looks like it's going up another 5% this morning. Again, up 170% in a short period of time is huge. In any stock, just be careful. We'll take a look at the chart here in a minute. Other things in the news, Americans entrenched in financial stress. This is that K-shaped double economy I talked about yesterday that Walmart had talked about in their earnings call. I think it's either today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. I think Costco comes out, so I'll be interested to see what they say about the economy also. So that'll be something I'll look at. But again, we're not, the Wall Street and Main Street seem to be on different levels right now. Micron, there it is again. It's SpaceX. So SpaceX merger. Uh, they're talking about Tesla and SpaceX may merge, and you're seeing other stocks like LUNR, RDW, ASTS. These are rocket and space companies. They're seeing those prices go up, and we can look at some of those charts also. But the SpaceX IPO is coming out. I told you it was a couple of weeks ago. I got in a small position in an open-ended fund, BPTRX, and they own in that fund. They have 33% of SpaceX. That one's been up. That's up about 3.25% in the last 2 weeks since I got into it. So I'll be watching that closely. If the IPO comes out, it drops way up. Well, I'll probably get out of that position and take my profits. American Airlines picks SpaceX Starlink for in-flight Wi-Fi and more 500 planes. I think Delta may have this already, but you're seeing Starlink's going to be a part of the SpaceX IPO. Heat map, a little bit. You see yesterday just green in the semiconductors up pretty good. Micron up 19, AMD up 7, Intel up 3, Texas Instruments 5, almost 6 on ADI. Tesla's up, of course, on the SpaceX. Got Google. Got some industrials up. Caterpillar. These guys that build uh, data centers and such. Railroads up a little bit, and everything else kind of reddish yesterday. On the S&P 500, we've crossed over again one more time this level of resistance, but just right up to where our high was on the last time. So closed a little bit right at it. Again, I'll be watching to see if we continue to go today, and it looks like we're going to on the S&P. Again, heavily influenced by 7, 8 stocks in there that move it. Here's the NDX. Okay, when you look at that, we were sideways and then we're back up, but we're still not above that level of resistance. But look at that pattern up, sideways back in, and then back up on the NDX. Again, heavily influenced, by semiconductors and technology. Here's your semiconductor index, and it uh, looks just like the NDX. You see there and there. So it's almost the exact same thing. So this is really what's pushing our markets, semiconductors. And again, when one stock can move the S&P 19 points, move it up, that's pretty big. Here's your XLK. Okay, this is technology, has a lot of semiconductors in it. You see almost exactly the same. Here's Micron. Okay, there's your big gap up on Micron. It's going to go up again today. This is on the swing trade chart. And again, you're seeing a lot of momentum. We had this nice pull up. And again, we're going to ride right up on that Bollinger Band, and has just a lot of emotion in it right now. And all the oscillators say it's a go. If you're going to trade in it, I try to get down to buy the 9 here to get an entry if you can. And then watch the upper Bollinger as a type of resistance on the top. AMD, same kind of thing. Nice run up, sideways back over to the 9, and then take off again, just based on the Micron news. I think someone came out and they doubled the price of the Micron, whatever it is, they doubled it for their outlook. The analyst did. Here's ARM. Again, right up on the Bollinger Band, zooming up. This is what's causing the market to go up in general. But again, when I go back and say half of the market is under the 200-day simple moving average, so keep that in mind. Here's NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA is kind of interesting because NVIDIA is not participating, at least not so far. I think it's up a little bit today uh, in the broader upward movement of the semiconductors. And why is that? And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about a little bit is NVIDIA. Last week NVIDIA had their earnings out. It was record-breaking earnings report, but instead of launching, up, you can see the stock here. We've been down, since the earnings. And meanwhile, we just looked at the semiconductor ETF, the SMH, and it's been marching upward, along with Micron and AMD. And, so you wonder, how can the absolute king of the AI chips fall when the chip index is actually rising? Well, it turns out, Wall Street is reacting to a massive supply chain shift that the mainstream financial media doesn't tell you about. And here are the 3 core takeaways that I found. And I'll be putting out more detailed research report in my office on the Discord after this meeting. And go take a look at what's happening with NVIDIA and these semiconductors. So the first thing is really the flaw in the record earnings report. So when you look at Nasdaq or Nvidia's earnings, the headline screamed that they beat expectations across the board, and they did. They pulled a massive 81.6 billion in revenue for the quarter, but the institutional money looked at the scale of that beat. In 24 and 25, Nvidia used to shatter these Wall Street expectations by 10%, 15% every quarter. This time, they only beat the revenue estimate by about 3.5%. This tells us that the analysts have finally accurately priced in Nvidia's kind of maximum capacity. The stock was priced for perfection. We talk about that a lot. It has to be, dead on and above. And after an aggressive run up, you can see right here, we had a run up into earnings, making the actual report a textbook buy the rumor, sell the news, institutional profit taking event. Furthermore, NVIDIA quietly raised its dividend by 25 times. Okay, it went from 25 cents from one. And this is kind of a corporate signal. They're transitioning from a hyper growth runaway stock into a mature cash generator when you start paying out dividends. The second thing is really the global memory squeeze. Why is the semiconductor index rising? And climbing without its leader, which is NVIDIA, because it's an acute structural global shortage in the high bandwidth memory. They call it HBM and advanced DRAM chips. Memory giants like SK Hynix and Samsung just announced they are completely sold out of AI memory chips through the end of 2026. Spot prices for basic memory are spiking so fast that some supply lines are operating on hourly pricing, if you can believe it, because the SMX index is cap weighted and holds massive baskets of these foundational chip makers and hardware equipment titans like Micron, TSMC, ASML. The index is surging on the back of pure, unadulterated scarcity pricing power. And the last thing is this here. The last thing is, what are we missing, with this? And here's the ultimate plot twist. The global memory market shortage is actively hurting NVIDIA. So remember, NVIDIA doesn't actually manufacture physical chips. They design the architecture. To build the finished AI GPU, NVIDIA designs must be physically packaged alongside the exact HBM memory modules that are currently facing a shortage. This creates three massive headaches for NVIDIA. One is margin compression. Memory suppliers are commanding massive premiums, forcing NVIDIA to either absorb these higher costs in memory, hurting their 75% profit margin, or pass them on to cash-strapped tech giants who are out there, spending like drunken sailors. The second is the physical ship cap. Even if demand for AI is infinite forever, NVIDIA's actual quarterly shipments are hard capped by the physical ability of memory and the TSMC's advanced packaging capability. They literally can't build them any faster. Okay, so they're limited. And third is the air pocket. NVIDIA is currently transitioning from its older Hopper architecture to the new Blackwell chip line. This transition creates a brief pause where big buyers slow down current orders while waiting for the new tech to ship, a timeline that memory shortages threatens to delay. So when you think of the grand rotation, what we're witnessing isn't a market crash in NVIDIA. It's a highly logistical institutional rotation. The institutional money realizes that while the ultimate software winner of the AI race is still up for debate, the companies supplying the raw components, foundational memory, factory equipment, are the ultimate toll booths of the revolution. Capital is temporarily flowing out of the hyper-extended GPU designer, NVIDIA, and into the broader supply chain stack that makes the chips possible. So I'm going to post a full silicon divergence research paper after this meeting on my Discord, and it features the exact quarterly data, structural supply chain, flowcharts, specific technical support levels to watch as this rotation plays out. So give it a look. It might help you position your tech exposure going forward a little bit, and explain a little bit why we're not seeing the big movements on NVIDIA. So anyway, that's what I see on basically NVIDIA chart and why that's doing that. I look at patterns. I'm like, that is strange. So I just wanted to look into it and see what was really going on with NVIDIA. Does anyone have any comments on that? Questions before I move on? Trent?
I wonder if we are in the beginnings of a rotation from king to prince kind of scenario where the king is ruled for so long. Now he is stepping down and the prince is rising to king level. And is that the microns, the SanDisks? is it are those the princes that now will rise to the top because it's all been about GPU. Now it's about memory, and that
Yeah, I
shift.
mean, I'm not sure it's that they're taking over for NVIDIA, but right now because of the supply shortage, they are driving the ship.
Yeah,
NVIDIA is just sitting on the side waiting for more memory, from my understanding.
yeah. So I don't know. I think historically that always has happened to some extent.
We had the
So
same when I worked for Compaq. We did the same thing. The hardware drove the software until it didn't, and then the software drove the hardware. And we went through the same transition. We were in the driver's seat until we weren't. Um, so anyway, it's interesting to watch history repeat itself in technology a little bit.
yeah,
Okay, so I'm going to look a little further on these charts. Here's the Dow Jones. And we saw some movement on the Dow Jones up to where the record highs were, but we closed just down below. You can see we're having a little trouble getting past record highs on the Dow Jones. Again, we're seeing, a lot of this is just in the chips still. We look at the Mag 7. Okay, these are the customers of these chips. You see, we're not seeing that big bounce in the Mag 7s, really. We'll go look at these a little closer. There's Google. Okay, you see a downward trend in Google right under resistance. You look at Amazon, downward trend in Amazon under resistance. Uh, so it's a different when you look at charts like I do consistently day to day. You see these patterns, and you go, "What the heck's going on? And where's the money flowing?" Well, we know where the money's flowing now. Apple is different. Apple's not really a big buyer of data centers and all that out there. They're going to use their little phone to be the conduit to all these different AI applications out there. So they're doing fairly well. Look at that. They broke over resistance 2 days in a row, and still within their channel. So Apple's the exception. And you got Tesla. Of course, Tesla is being lined up with the SpaceX IPO, and is Tesla going to be a part of SpaceX someday? And what's the plan there? So there's a lot of momentum there. Got right up again to where we have a little bit of a support and resistance line. Got a little bit above it. We'll see, but the trend has been up on Tesla, but not really for the AI reason, but more for the SpaceX reason. Got Microsoft just diddling along sideways. Okay, not really doing anything spectacular. I keep waiting for it. It's a good company, but good companies go sideways too. And then you've got, of course, Meta. And I don't really understand what Meta's trying to do and how they spend their money and how Zuckerberg runs his company. And I've never invested in Meta long. I've shorted Meta before, but never long. I just don't understand Zuckerberg. Palantir bounced up above this resistance level. We've done it a couple of times. We'll see if it holds. I mean, you can see these candles of indecision. It really doesn't know what it wants to do. And then you've got Netflix, of course, sideways also. So, we got these couple charts screaming up, which is, the S&P and the NASDAQ. And then you've got XLK, the technology screaming up. You got the SMH screaming up. You got within that Micron, AMD, all these guys just going straight up. And that's really what's moving it. You're not seeing that, in the broader market outside of a few things like, we talked about some of the space companies and some of the software companies. But again, I'm seeing software come out today with some earnings that don't not look all that good. Here's your XLP. This is consumer staples. Again, down yesterday, consumer staples. Here's your XLB. A little bit of material movement on the upside, got above the 50. Okay, we've done that before. Let's see if we can maintain that. Okay, you're above the 200. This might have some room to run. I'm not quite there yet. Look at the oscillators aren't ready yet. But a little bit of upward movement there. We've got some utility upward movement too. Sometimes when you see, everything going to technology, some of the money will come back into utilities. For the dividends, we're not quite above that 50 yet, but we're seeing some of them move towards the 50, if not just a little bit above. Here's your real estate. Interesting real estate. We're talking about rates going up and real estate, but there's a lot of REITs in here. People go there and get the dividends, a little bit of safety. Here's your energy. Of course, energy's down. With what's going on with the war being over, allegedly. And we'll see what happens with energy, but very news sensitive in energy. Here's industrials. Industrials have a nice 4 or 5 day run up. We're still underneath this level of resistance. We'll see if we go up, hit our head on it, and come back down. But we're seeing a little bit of that from the AI play. XLV healthcare, had a nice pop up right to resistance, and that's where we ended up. And now we've come back down to the 200, but we are over the 250 in healthcare. But Lilly was a lot of that on the other day, and then yesterday it just came apart as everything moved into technology. Here's your communication sector, just sideways, but above the 200. And here's your consumer staple or discretionary things you want, don't really need, sideways to down. You see I've got a downward trending uh, upper resistance level, and then our support coming up into a wedge, and we'll see which way that breaks out, but really sideways. XLF is sideways to down. This is financials. Okay, so we're not seeing money flow into there. Here's your software. We've been watching this going between the 9 and the upper Bollinger Band, a nice run up in software. Might be a little ending today. I saw, who was it? It was a couple software companies. Box came out. They didn't impress. They're down 2%. VRRM, another software company, down 43%. Zscaler came out, didn't do as well. They're down 22% pre-market. So I'm expecting maybe we'll see some of these go down. I think Snowflake is today potentially. But before that, here's CrowdStrike. But right on resistance. Resistance came on 2 days in a row. Doesn't mean we can't go sideways, wait for that 9 to come up, in that structure, and then head back up. But it's got to get past that level. Normally, when I'm trading, if I was in here and it hit that level, I'd be out. I don't chase it any further. And again, Palo Alto Network, same thing. Had resistance come on, and that's where we hit. And maybe that's showing some of the slowdown that we might see today in some of these other names. There's Snowflake. I think they come out today with their earnings. Has a little bit of room up to the 200, but we'll see what happens with them compared to what we're seeing in some of the other software companies. Walmart continued down yesterday. We talked about Walmart. Tomorrow, I think, is Costco. Here's Costco falling down in support of Walmart. Look at these crossover of the MACD, descending stochastic momentum down on all these retailers. Again, it's the you look at these charts like, wow, what a dichotomy. You got technology and AI and chips just taking off. And then you've got what I call the real economy. People have to go buy things at Costco and stuff, and you're seeing what's happening there. Head back down. Even Dollar General still down at the bottom. We're waiting to see if that gets a little boost. But you got support and resistance right there. And it's just smashed in between there, and it's just been sideways. But we'll watch it, see if it might get a bump at all for Dollar General. Tractor Supply, is trying to get above that 9 and pop back down to support. So again, retail is just not doing as well, except for Macy's, and Macy's again riding kind of that big buy that Berkshire Hathaway had on Macy's. Lockheed Martin, we're watching some of these defense contractors, see if they start coming back. They're following their 200. It popped above the 200 a little bit yesterday. The oscillators don't look too bad. Got the 50 right above it, but we need to get a little more momentum and see if that'll pop up. So keep that on your list. You might see some rotation into some defense stocks. There's Northrop Grumman, same kind of thing, except with Northrop, we're below the 200, and you're going to have a death cross here on the 50 over the 200. Sam Adams, another retailer, beer, Boston beer, uh, started to make a move up, came back down right to support, which is the 9. So we'll see what happens. A little bit of a crossover, not crossover, but a downturn in the stochastic. Not quite crossed over on the MACD yet. Just not seeing it on that. So let me get out of this a second. I want to go over to Bitcoin a little bit here. That. Bitcoin down just above 75,000. We're right on this line of 75,000. We're playing right along this box, 75,000. Underneath the 50, underneath the 9, underneath the 20 right now. Again, we've done this before, and we'll see if it holds or if it breaks back down. We're back between 70 and 75,000. But you see that in this, you see it in gold, you're seeing it in silver. As the semiconductors continue to take money out of the market, and a lot of it comes out of these, gold, silver, and people chase the yield on that. Take a look at some of the aerospace companies and see if this will come up at all. This is Intuitive Machines. And again, this is kind of the aerospace company. You see we're hitting resistance right here, but big move up on some of the SpaceX and came back down. So we're going to see a lot of emotion. Don't get too caught up in it unless you're really going to invest in it and you know what's going on. Trading wise, on this chart, it's not really good. RDW, it's another one. This is another red wire. Okay, this has to do with space and exploration. You see, you're going to see a lot of this as the IPO comes out for SpaceX. Some of these residuals, ASTS is another one that I saw just take off, just launching. Again, these are not things I like to chase. You can see why we're at resistance. We've been here before, and it's right up on there. It tries to get past it. Done it before over here. Just be careful. You're thinking about getting in there. Just go back to your technicals and say, okay, should I got in, and is this the place I want to go? Because you get up on this level, you're more speculating and gambling than you are anything else. And so if you're like that, and that's fine. Some people like to momentum trade and gamble more. That's okay. I'm not that way. I'm pretty attached to my money, so I don't like to do that as much. Let's see what else we got here. I think that's about it. That's about it for me right now. You guys have anything you want to look at? Uh, uh, just put it in the chat there. But anyway, we're still looking at a very kind of narrow market. We're seeing most of the money flowing into Micron and the EMD, and these guys are getting chased. And at some point, uh, it can't be maintained, at some point, and we'll see. Tomorrow, maybe I'll do a thing. I said the Chinese are trying to flood the market with chips. I did a little research into that, and it's not as bad as the article I read talked about it. In fact, they're just doing the lower end chips and not the ones that like Micron and some of these guys are doing for AI. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow and go over that a little bit. Trent.
All right. So I wanted to share this with you all today. Two things. First off, a chuckle. This is how well the upper class is doing. This is a Lamborghini Huracan, probably 2024 or 25. Probably about 300 to 500,000. If you'll look at his license plate, this is truly what his inner feelings are. He's broke. Ha ha, funny, funny. Anyhow, wow, that really went over like a lead
Were,
balloon,
were
didn't
you
it?
were you were you following him to Walmart or Costco?
No, I was actually turning into my local grocery store,
No.
and I pulled in behind him, and I thought, I love Lamborghinis, but I saw his license plate, and I was like, how telling of what I don't know what he does or who he is, but anyhow, um,
So did he answer to the name of Bernie?
no, he was a young guy, like probably
Or
30s. I was like, what the hell do you do? Um,
Maybe it's
but
his dad's car or his
that,
girlfriend's car.
when I
it,
see stuff like that, well, meaning people with Lambos and stuff like that, and they're 27, 28, I always am interested. What in the heck do you do in life that you can,
yeah.
or
Well,
is he leveraged?
well, it's interesting around here. Real estate is a big thing, and there is a handful of young people. My daughter actually dated one for a bit.
A
Um,
Lambo? He dated a Lambo?
no, he didn't own a Lambo, but he did
Uh,
very well in real estate. These guys have killed it over the last probably 6 years. And there's a couple guys in their 30s who are driving Lambos, and they're real estate guys. So, anyways, I do see how that can happen, but I also know that what goes up must come down at some point. So, I wanted to highlight some changes on Kerry's fractal scores because I got some comments the in my office about a couple stocks. Circle was one of them. How the conviction score was super high. They bought it, and then it made a move downward, and it made me question why that decision was made, and what was being how they were interpreting the information. So I wanted to add a couple things. And so what I did was I added, going toward more to the traditional technical side of things, I added the 9-day, the 15, the 62, and the 200 period moving averages to it. A setup score. So I wanted to instead of catching the next 3 days of moves higher, I wanted to catch the whole swing higher. And so I broadened it out to start looking for accumulation phases in versus just euphoria or extended moves higher. And so I incorporated that in there. One thing I want to really emphasize, because Circle was one of them that was brought up as had a conviction score of like 4.8 or something. But if you went back and looked at the history of it, it had a bunch of negatives, and I'll see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. So this is Circle here. For some reason, the scoring changed, but it has a consistent negative history on its fractal scoring. I believe because we rolled a day, it had a 4.8 at one day. And what I would encourage you to really take into account is that one day is not a trend. Anything you do or anything you look at, you need to look at multiple periods of time. If it's a 9 period, if it's a 15, if it's a 200 period, look at the trend, the multiples, not just one day. And this is no different. So you want to see, in this case, growth or strengthening in the conviction score. So for instance, SanDisk is at a 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Then it jumps to 3.9, 3.9, and then today it's 3.89. So is the trend doing this? Where do we want to catch it? We want to catch it back here. And so that's why I incorporated a couple of these different things. I also incorporated in the AI analysis an analysis of the trends, but also a reason why it won't work. And that's my 10th man rule. So as this calculates here. But what I would really encourage you to do is use that three-legged stool approach. And that is the fundamentals. What phase are we in? Look at in this case, the mathematics behind it. Are institutions accumulating, distributing, or doing nothing? And then also the technicals, and end with the technicals, because when I looked at Circle and I went to the chart of it, the chart is just down. It's just historically just going down. And that should be that last filter. You go, wait a second. The fractals are saying the trend is consistent, it's strong, but take into account it's calculating the strength of a trend. The trend can be down. So if that trend is strong, the fractals say conviction high, the trend is high or strong, that trend could be down. So understand that. And it's my, I'll take responsibility. I'm not teaching that well enough in the how to use it, and I'm adjusting that. But I also threw in the 10th man rule, which I believe is essential in anything that you take risk in doing. So why would it not work? And so the AI gives you a breakdown of why SNK or SanDisk won't go higher based on versus why it will go higher. And I think as your process builds, use this as your second leg. Confirm with your third leg, and that's the technicals. Just pull up a chart and just use the daily and the weekly, and just look at it and go, is it logically, is the second leg confirming a trend? And what trend is it confirming? An upward trend or a downward trend? If it's confirming an upward trend, then you position and start to take action. If it's confirming a downward trend, you don't buy it. It's really, I want you to start thinking that way, but think in the three-legged stool approach. What is it fundamentally doing? Look at Kerry's research. We're putting up research reports now on the website as well. Kerry's is on his tell sheet. Mine and Mark's are on our research tab on the website. And so you're getting this Is this you, Mark?
What's up?
Oh, this is me.
That's you.
Okay. Wow, that just popped up. Anyhow, so use the three-legged process, and I think that's something Mark and I have really preached since we started doing this a year and what 4 or 5 months ago.
Yep.
Is that build a process. Start with the fundamentals. Start with what economic phase are we in? Right now, we're in a stagflation environment, rising costs, slowing growth. That's where we're at. What performs well? Match that up. Look at the fractal side of it, the mathematical side. Is institutions buying it or are they selling it? And then go confirm with that third leg, and that's the technicals. What Mark has taught for a long time now. Use that process, and in the end, you'll make a better risk management decision to buy, to hold, or to sell something. So I really emphasize that process, and I'm going to re-update the this part. Where is it? There it is. This part here, how it works, and I'm going to basically spell it out just as I did here, and using this process, and then of course leave all this other information. Because somebody said this is very complicated. It is very complicated, but I want you to become better at this, because in the end, you get better at this, you will achieve the goals and vision of your life in the future. And this is part of that risk management strategy. So I wanted to update you on that. Really, that's where I got for today. Very short, very straight to the point. But Bill, I emphasize, take a moment, step back, and write down what is the first leg of your process, what is the second leg, what is the third leg, and go through that process every time you buy or sell or consider buying an investment, or hell, just anything in life. Should I buy a Lambo? Sure. Is my economic conditions strong enough for me to go buy a Lambo? What Lambo or Lamborghini? What is the
You
risk?
know what? You know what it costs to change the oil in a Lambo?
Yeah, it's I think about 15,000.
Oh my God, my friend has one, and just to change the oil is like, holy crap! There's no way I'd buy one of those cars.
No, I saw a tutorial on changing the oil in a 911 Porsche, and this guy was like, you take it to the dealer, they'll charge you $750 to $1,000 change it, and he then showed you how to do it because Porsche's made it real easy to do it. He goes, that cost me the oil and my time. So yes, you're right. If you buy a Lambo, expect your maintenance costs to be just astronomical. That's why
And
you get.
insurance.
That's why, yeah, and that's why you all only see them with such low mileage on them, because nobody wants to bring it in.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, they're fun to
Yeah,
be in. It's fun to ride in, but man, it's like
yeah,
a boat. It's like a boat. Don't go buy a boat. Know somebody that owns a boat.
right. Rent it. You know, if you fly it, float it, or something, you rent it.
Yeah. Okay, well,
All
we got
right.
some charts people want to take a look at. And Tanaka starts out our chart mania ELVA, Via. First thing I go back, on the year chart here, and I just look at where we are. Nice runs up right to about,
You're you're
You're not showing the
you're
chart.
I'm in stealth mode. Oh, here we go. I'll get out of my cloaking device. First thing I look at is, nice runs up right to this level of, what is this? Hold on, cancel. Where's our resistance? Modify. Let me see. 1169. Okay, so we came back here. This was in February of 2026, and then we came back May of 11th, and here we are again today. Doesn't mean we can't roll past that, but you see we've hit it 3 times in a row, usually with the same kind of a wick. We can pop above. We're outside the upper Bollinger Band. You have some pretty good, oscillators, but again, that level of resistance has been pretty high. You may not want to just, put in at that point. These charts show, I'd rather get in when it crosses over, a major one, the 9 or the 50, and ride it up and then out and back up. But yeah, I don't really make it a policy to buy on a resistance level. That's usually a sell level. FCEL. Kanaka wanted this one too. FCEL. Oh my goodness. Woo. Okay, who wants to buy here? Anybody? Any takers? Takers? Trent, want to buy here?
No,
Okay.
short.
It's big old, I mean, just big old candles. And it doesn't mean it can't keep going, but I've got 3 times in a row this big candle, back down, tried again the next day, back down, right to the Bollinger, tried again next day, back down so much that we've got resistance. Doesn't mean it won't come sideways and we didn't see this roll up, but that is a huge, huge run up from 698 to 2497 on something. Let me see what our earnings are. That makes negative 49 cents a share. Okay, so that's as much as fundamentals was 85 cents negative before, so they're actually getting a little better, but they're still losing. Something made it go up. A lot of emotion, a lot of big candles, a lot of big tails, and a lot of big wicks. So nice chart. Would have been nice. You look at, we always say follow your process. I have a guideline, and here we got above the 50, we got above the 200 right here. Paul Tudor Jones got one candle above all that. You check it out the next day, and if you found this and you're using a guidelines like mine, you would have been in here, still in, still in, still in, because you didn't close below the 9, and I would have been out right there, 24.97. So I prefer to find them down here than to find them up here, because I can go to the 52-week high chart on FinViz and see which one's running and put my, take a chance. Maybe I bought right here, and the next day it's like, crap, and then you get out and you lose. Well, if you have a system, you say, number one, I'm not going to buy on an upper Bollinger Band, okay, and if you did, now I'm not going to sell because here's resistance, and I might have touched resistance and sold and got out. But again, that's why we have a process. This one here had a nice run. If you were in it, I hope you made some money on it, because it was a nice run up. Troy wanted to look at HSAI. HSAI. Okay, what do we got here? American Depository, so it's foreign shares, each ADS. I have no idea.
Your screen. Oh, there it is.
No idea. Here we go. Again, lots of ups and downs on this one. Right on resistance. We're underneath the 9. We're underneath the 50. Nice little run up from support, but here's your support level, intermediate. Here's your resistance level. Okay, you got a lot of resistance back through the day where we broke through it. You are under the 200. You're under the 50. You're under the 9. You're under the 20. And you don't really have the oscillators moving up yet. So if you can get past that 50, you might have a run up to the 200. But right now we're just trying to fight that. But a couple days on the upside after coming down and touching out the lower Bollinger Band on that one, and it's an ADR also.
Yeah, there's some
And
talk. They're the generator of that LiDAR technology, and there's some talk that they could possibly benefit from the SpaceX IPO, because there's sentiment that Elon may adopt that technology in his humanoid robots.
oh, okay. So that's kind of speculation.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's part of searching out potential, stocks you may want to invest in. Um, that's where you start. I mean, we're always trying to look at where the money's going to flow, and that's kind of where you start out with. And you just got to be careful on speculation and innuendo, because some people who might have bought it down, up here, may be saying, "Hey, that's Elon's going to do it." I don't know. I don't know anything about it. You know more about it than I do, Troy. But yeah, we're always looking for that. Um, I try not to. Well, I can't say that. I mean, I bought into that fund for SpaceX, a small amount, just as a speculation and trade. So I can't fault you for looking into that for sure. So I do the same thing. What else we got? Robert one. Is it CRDD? Is this what you're looking at, Robert? Maybe I didn't get that right. This seems weird. Go back up to Robert here. Oh, CRDO. Sorry, CRDO. Okay, Credo. Thought that looked strange. Credo. Oh, there we go. Well, yeah, it's up. Again, above the upper Bollinger, came back down right to the top of the Bollinger. Again, let me go back. Here's an earnings right here, 44 cents per share. So they're positive. We're above the 200. We're above the 50. We're above the 9. A nice run up above the 9. Big old candles. A lot of momentum here. Again, a momentum trade. I'm going to go back a little and see if we're at all-time highs now. Go back 2 years. Yep, kind of looks that way. We broke through our all-time high, which was right here. What was that? 183.69. Now we're at 221. Again, I ask you, is this where you want to buy? Or is this an investment for you? Is this a trade for you? Again, I look at, let me move this over a little bit. I look at following process. And if you follow a process on trades, mine, we follow the 9, we follow the moving averages, and here you got above the 200. Okay, so there's your Paul Tudor Jones investment line. Popped up, came back down, still up. So there's your investment. I use that as an investment line. Trading wise, you can trade under the 200, and we have to now because if you're going to trade, half the stocks are under the 200. You watch for the next level of resistance, which is the 50. So if you got in here, you got resistance here, 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 then it popped up. Your next level resistance to 200. Got above the 200, came up. Here's my 9 on a trade. If it gets below a 9 like that, then I usually get out. Okay, that's what trades are. Trades are short term. You get in, you get out. This is investment line on the 200. You're still in it. But again, you're kind of up on the top of the upper Bollinger Band. My rules say, for me personally, I don't trade outside the Bollinger Bands. They're 2 standard deviations away from the 20. I'd rather come down, try to catch it at support, which is right here at the 9. You've got intermediate, you've got some buy orders right at the 9, you can see. So these are not just my secrets or anyone's secrets. The whole world knows this and they all watch it. Let's look to the upside and see where the sell orders are. We'll go above, we'll make it tight and right above there. So you see it 239.91. You're going to have some sell orders. So you're getting pretty close at that point. Doesn't mean it can't blow past it. Some news comes out, but it's all about where's support, where's resistance, where the algorithm's going to kick in, where are the other traders going to kick in, and that's what you look for on a chart like this. Okay, Robert also had CRWL. Whew. CRWL, Granite shares 2x long, crowd daily. So this is a 2x stock. So if it goes up, you get twice as much bang for your buck. If it goes down, you lose twice as much. These are made, go read about these. These are made for daily trades, basically not for long term. In this case, CRWD has been going up. And here you go. That's that CrowdStrike. And here we are at resistance at this point. So if you got in and you did good, here's your 200. You rode that right up the Bollinger Band. You're doing pretty well. And then you've got some resistance here and sell orders right above it. It's where we wicked up to yesterday before it came back in. Doesn't mean it can't hang around out here, go sideways with that 9 to come up as we see, and then go. But it is a 2x long. So if the market turns around, it'll turn around pretty quick on you. So be careful in there. Luckily, hopefully you got in down here and you rode that up and you did pretty well on that. And then RJ, CIFR. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is Cipher Digital. Now I'm going to look at the volume's good. Got a crossover the MACD. That's good. Finally, we were below it. Had a nice big wick up right to where the sell orders are and right to where resistance is. So we got sell orders and resistance right at the same area right here. And like Trent said, you look at the chart and then you say, is this logical for me to put in at this point? Or is it logical to put in at this point? What's your process? Maybe your process is, maybe you're a momentum trader. You don't care, you're going with the momentum until the trend ends, but I see these things like these topping tails, and that gives me a probability, not a possibility, but probability that this trend is going to end for a little bit. See this topping tail here, came back down, and then this is a longer topping tails here. So nice run up. But again, we're seeing some of these, start to get a little pricey from a technical standpoint. KVYO, those are making me work today. Okay, KBYO. These are more where I like to watch. When you come down, you hit this support level, and then you go sideways, and then this 9 comes down. We're watching on some of the military stocks, well, Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. Normally if you come down, you start to see a bounce up and get above that 9, and get a little momentum. You have some trade possibilities. Because these support lines are just ever as important as these resistance lines. So and then you got to look at the next level. You come up, got a little bit of some sell orders right above you at 1584. You can see why. The sell orders here. Algorithms will go back and do the same thing I'm doing, just visually look and see where they are. Put it in. They'll take their pennies to $1, and get out, and then go to the next one on things like these. 1446, yeah. So again, but I like these more than I like buying at the top on those. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Well, I'm still on it. And then Spruck's got a bunch of them in there. REAX from Mr. Joseph. REAX. And Trent, jump in on any of these if you got anything. REAX, real brokerage. I'm going to go back and just see how far we have fallen on real brokerage. So back here in August of 25, we were sitting at 522, and now we're sitting down at 179. Again, these are a little more like a day trader type situation. We just have barely a crossover of the MACD here. We got really low stochastics and a 37 RSI. We're going right along the intermediate support level. We're above the 9 a little bit, candle of indecision. The 20 is about where your sell orders are. Your sell orders are $1.92. These are the kind of stocks people get in. They'll buy 10,000 shares of it. And if the price goes up a dime, they sell, and that's day traders like to do that. But you got a little room if you get past that 20 to the next level, which is up here at the 50. We've been at the 50 before, had trouble getting, got above it, and then back down. So, again, it wouldn't. You could put it on your watch list, but until it got some momentum, which it doesn't, it could go sideways for a little while. And you see the Bollinger Bands are converging a little more too. And the closer they get, the more accumulation sideways movement that you get on that.
Mark,
Yeah.
my calculation is between 145 and 155 over the next 20 days.
Down.
Round. So, I mean, there's no institutional excitement about it.
Well, not under $5 for sure.
Yeah. Well, and taking account hedge funds and all, but it, like you were saying just a second ago, it's a trade.
Yeah.
And it's a very short-term trade. So be careful of this.
Yep.
Yeah.
SMCI. Oops. Doesn't want to put my chart up. Let's go to a year chart. Super Micro. Wow, look at that. Super Micro has had some issues legally, if I can say that.
Yeah.
But on the chart, look at this. We've been sideways for quite a while. Took that dump. They must have been I think this is when that one officer he was selling NVIDIA parts to China or something, maybe.
That was the latest one, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably right here. And so since then, we built back up. This is what I like, is at least it's above the 200. Okay. So, you got sell orders right above that. You can see right there at 38.71 is your first level of sell orders. I want to go back a little bit and just see where that program put. Oh, yeah, because on this downward, not seeing it too bad, but right above that, you're on your upper Bollinger Band. What I like to see about these is wait a little bit and see if we have we go up and we come back and touch that 200 and take off. That's usually a good technical sign that you'll have more room to go up. Right now, it's a good sign that we came up, we touched 200, the next day we closed above it. But is it a false breakout or not? I want to see another, either touch back down and close above it, or touch back down, come back up, and then keep going and get past this level of sell orders. But I do like that it's above the 200. That's pretty amazing now. But again, they have kind of a shady past.
I think based on what I've calculated is if it stays above the 200, supports there, okay. But if it breaks below the $32 range, everything, the base that has been created, as you can see over the last, was probably 2 weeks, go back, not that far, but right there to what, April or May 1st area.
That's okay. May is right.
Keep going.
Yep, May right
Right
in.
there. Basically had, a gap up, came down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago, and hit that gap, filled it, and went back up. So a break below 32 would just erase everything it created in testing that support level and moving higher. So 36, above 36 and staying there is really the place it could go. Now, historically, the other side of that is, historically you're taking into account the 35% erosion that happened after the news came out in the calculation. So I honestly would look at this and go, as long as you stay above that 200, that 36 mark, and you build from there, there's possibilities. And looks like your green line of death's at 51.
Yeah, 51.62.
Yeah. So I think, this is showing up quite a bit recently on my conviction level, but it also, so 7 days ago, it was a 3.94, 3.1, and then went to a negative 1.7. It's today at a 1.68, which tells me something has changed in the math, that this ride may be weakening at this point. But just to keep an eye on it, and don't mortgage the house and collateralize your Lamborghini for this one yet. Wait for confirmation.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of support right at this level. That was 39.97, which is above where the sell orders are. You can just do this yourself and kind of go back, see where you see, support and resistance. Like here's support, there's resistance, there's support. So then your next level would be 44.73. So that's kind of how you do it, and you don't hit it all the time. So this program will come in and it'll put them in for you. You can go in here, and modify this, and that's above, that's tight. You can go to medium, you can go to loose, and then it'll move it up. You can see how it does the same thing as what I just did. So anyway, but I like to do it manually myself just to see where you might see some issues. Okay, what else we got?
Thank you.
Busy, man. CRDO. Credo. Who? Well, again, you got a lot of these in the technology and AI sector, and we broke through our high right here. We tried to go, back in this level, in 511, finally broke through it. Sell orders are above at 239.91. You always see that a little higher. It's a momentum stock. It's all, we're playing for a price discovery now because it's at all-time highs, it looks like. You go back, yep, all-time highs. So again, that's hard to do technicals at all-time highs, especially when you have a shooting up arrow like we have on this particular chart. And you have to ask yourself, what's my trading plan? And is this where I want to buy in? And if I do, what's my justification for doing that? I look at this and say, okay, if I'm going to take a chance, I'm a little more of a risk taker. I want to see it get closer down, into a buying level, maybe right in this area above the 9, where it might wick down. And if I miss it, I miss it. But again, I don't like to chase it outside the Bollinger Band. Here we came back down, got above it, back down. And you see where the Bollinger Band can be a nice level of resistance, and that's where we are right now on Credo. What else? Go ahead.
Can you take a look at IPGP?
I always take you.
So this one shows up as an accumulation phase, and that you shouldn't, as long I use the 62, Mark uses the 50. But
Right.
as long as we stay above that level, we're going to accumulate. It's a very quiet accumulation process. Now, if it does break below, was it breaks below 107? Where are we at? 107, 107.95, then the whole accumulation process fails basically. So this is something just to keep an eye on. If we do start to see that sideways movement, it looks like your green line to death is right at it.
Right here. Yeah.
But this is a very this is accumulating the quiet before the move. So just keep an eye on it to see if it does continue to accumulate shares, and then you see a pop move higher, and that would be, if you get a break through that, you get to your 131 mark, I think is your sell orders.
Yep.
Yeah, so could be one of those. You get a
You there? Did you freeze? Looks like you froze. I'll go over. Someone brought up a space. Oh, sorry, you froze.
okay.
Anyway,
But yeah, just go ahead.
okay. Someone brought up MNTS. Heard about it and did not chase it. Wish I got. It's a play on SpaceX. I don't know anything about it. I'm going to come down and look at these volumes: 16 million, 85 million, and before that, 2.7 million. So a lot of gaps here. Uh, again, technically, look, we're heading down. Look at it. We're already open now. It opened up here. People are chasing. Now we're getting beat back down. You're way outside of the Bollinger. Volume is pretty high on this. So a lot of people chasing it. Again, not my kind of deal, but for people who like to chase and have a little more excitement and speculation in their flow of blood, there's a
I don't
these are
think
the
that
kind of things. Go ahead.
that's that's not logical.
Well, I was just, you can say, I heard about it, wish I got it, a play on it, but you can't look backwards and try to be a trader or an investor. You got to look forwards. And I look at this and say, there's no way you really could have known. I mean, I don't even know what momentous does. I don't. I try to go back and see. Let me go back here. Well, here's an earnings report. They're down. They make negative $19.28 a share. Okay, so somebody's chasing a lot of momentum for a story on a company. Oh, here's another one here. It says, oh, negative $11 per share. So they're getting better. Okay, but still, is that something you want to chase? Um, if you got in it and you were in it for some reason, and that thing went up like that, especially when you look back on the chart, it had some momentum over here, and then, with negative earnings and things, maybe you got in down here, and that would have been a good time. Then your emotions kick in. Instead of your trading plan, your investment strategy, you go, "Wow, this thing's going to the moon. I'm going to stay in it." And then you get these topping tails, and it goes, like what was that one car? What was that? Yeah,
With
this one.
yeah.
Um, this is emotion, okay? And then you see what happened, and then one day, that's just what I mean, you got to decide: are you an investor? Are you a day trader? Are you a swing trader? Are you a speculator? And how much money are you willing to risk on this? Okay, and I'm watching this. I'm like, yeah, that looks great. And I think this is one of those memes. Maybe Reddit got involved in it at this point. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Back in the day when I had a stronger heart, maybe and less brains, this might have been something I would have tried. But if you've ever been in something like this, and then you've got this candle, and maybe you're on vacation or you're out doing something that day, and then the next day you look at that chart, and then this happens, that's not a good feeling. I've been there. So anyway, I'm not trying to diss anyone's chart or anyone's stock. I just my experience. Just got to be careful. AMD. Let's see. Oops. Okay. I really do not do many of these stocks that are under $5 or These are like a lot of day traders get in here. So you look at the volume here. So 3 days ago, the volume was 281,000. And 2 days ago, it was 10 million. And right now, it's 11 million. So something's happening. Maybe someone's buying it. Maybe some news is out there on this one. This is one, if you're a speculator, and I don't know anything that's going on with this whatsoever. Negative 369 per share. Maybe someone's going to buy them. Maybe they got a test that passed through the FDA. I don't know. But that's huge volume compared to 281,000. So there will be some momentum on this. Again, more of a day trading kind of situation. It's up 14% so far just today. Okay. Again, it's nothing I look at. I mean, I'm in a different situation than a lot of people. I'm in risk management and wealth preservation. At this point, I look at what's happening in the market in general. I don't have time to play kind of in these, but if you use a plan and you have a plan and you look at this, it might be something you want to speculate in a little bit so I can stretch it out a little bit. But, you look at this topping tail. So it's getting beat down. It's outside of the upper Bollinger Band. And the volume
Yes,
just spiked up a lot. So, Trent, any
yes,
idea?
yes, Mark. Please,
Yeah.
looking at those statistics, do you think it could run for some time? Because I'm holding some of it for a long time, and it was tanking, but I just stepped it. So I just want to see if it can run. I can put back some in then, so that when it goes to the way up, I can go out.
I didn't quite catch the question. Did you catch
I'm
that,
just
Trent?
asking if you think with this statistic, it could run for like a couple of days.
Could it run for a couple
Yeah,
days?
yeah.
I suppose it could. I mean, I don't know what's causing this, number
I,
one. But to go from this volume as a zero to this volume, something's happening. Do you know what's happening? What news came out? Do you know?
I don't know, but I heard yesterday that they are doing testing on in Congo on the Ebola this thing in Congo.
Okay. So again, I mean, you're out, some news comes out. Uh, you got day traders and people or professional look at this. You got algorithms, check that news and shoot it back up. Uh, it's just hard for me to look at a chart like this and say, yeah, I'm just not this kind of a trader or investor. I'm just not. Trent, you got anything on this?
I just put it in Grok and let's see. Main catalyst is elbow related news. On May 1st, 2026, Ethlon announced it's actively monitoring the ongoings of the some sort of virus outbreak in the Dominican or the
Congo.
yes.
That's that's at whatever that was on that ship and stuff. Yeah.
Let me see if I get this. Bottom line, AEMD is a high risk speculative biotech play. The current move is primarily Ebola outbreak speculation and momentum trading in small caps. The company has real technology with FDA breakthrough designations, but it's still early stage with typical biotech challenges, cash burn, risk, trail risk, so on. Always do your due diligence, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's trading off that news event of Ebola, which I was fully unaware of. But let's see, engage maximum group to explore strategic opportunities. Yeah, nothing really, just it's going off a possible.
So it's news generated. It hasn't done anything till the news hit.
Yeah.
Can it go up? Absolutely. It could.
Yeah.
Can it stop? It can. Can
Here,
it do this? Can it do this? Yes.
Compare the volume of
Yeah.
10.5 million shares versus its average of 60,000 to 200,000.
Yeah. A lot of excitement there. A lot of chasing.
Yeah. Pre-market, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
So, Willie, do you have this stock you said? Is he there? Willie? Willie, do you have this stock? Oh, you see him there, but he must not be
Yes,
listening.
yes, yes. I'm holding the
Okay.
stock. Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, so
Now,
I held the stock for a very, very long time, and then I made money out of it, but I just kept some of it, and then the portion I kept, it just tanked down so much. So my average stock was still $7, whereas the stock is at $2 something. Has been sitting
okay.
at $2 something for a long time.
So it sounds like you've known this stock for a while.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Okay. Yeah, it's hard for me to come in and look at something like this and
yeah,
without what Trent just told me, and then looking at these volumes and say, for me, I mean, you're probably a different trader than I am, Willie. You
yeah.
have different risk tolerances than I do. So yeah, can this go up? Absolutely. Is it outside the Bollinger Band? Absolutely. And it's just something I don't trade outside of. I like to go between them. Like over here, it's between the Bollinger, hits the bottom, back up to the top, comes down to the bottom, back up top of the Bollinger Band, and now you're outside, and you've got these huge volumes. I mean, even today's volume, this is 11 million shares, and we just opened up, and yesterday was 10 million shares. So who knows what that volume is going to end up? We're only open 12 minutes, and we're already higher volume than we were yesterday. So
Yeah.
it can run. It can run. You know, tomorrow we could look at this again, and maybe it's up here and it touches the 200 today. I don't know. Could, you know,
Yeah.
that's speculation for me. I don't know. It's outside of my trading ranges. So it just emotion versus discipline. I've learned keep your discipline for me, and you'll do fine. So yeah, would I feel bad, man? I could have got in. Willie told me this stock right here. It was at 290, and then we ended up at the 200, 460. You know, and some people can take that kind of stress. I can't. So
Yeah. I think it's one of those. If you made money on that trade, on that
yep.
pump, I think that news headline will fade at some point soon.
All right. Someone wants to look at an old Gabe favorite net list.
Mhm.
Look at this candle, man, on earnings. It went right down to the 50 and bounced. Yeah,
Wow.
unbelievable the range on that candle. We opened at 331 and we closed at 345. Okay, so we opened here, we closed here, but the low was 313. Um, again, you know, Trent, what do you think? I mean, I'm looking at oscillators that aren't crossing positively. I'm looking
I,
at
first of all, understanding who this company is and that is
absolutely.
all about a lawsuit and winning a lawsuit. So that's a flip of a coin. So, um, is there a fundamental story in it? The other people know the story behind it more than I do, but I think you know, I don't know. I think there's better opportunities, in my opinion, out there. This is total. This is like speculation times two, times three. So if you're buying something like this based on a news event, a court win, okay, but don't go like full bore into it because it'll disappoint. Um,
You know,
and so,
I always go back to your plan. If you have a trading plan, okay, so I'm looking at net list, which I don't. I mean, it's not on my watch list of anything. Um, so I look, my trading plan goes off the nine basically, and I like to be above the 200. I like to be above the 50, which it is. So we're under the nine, or maybe even back here. We get above the nine, you pop in, you ride it, you're still above it, you're still above it, and then you're out here. You got in down here, you got in out at this candle here. You come back up, you wait, get one candle above, next one you get in, you ride it, you ride it, you ride it until you get down below the nine again and you get out. You know, so that's how a disciplined trading plan looks at. So at this point, would I be back in it? No, because my oscillators tell me, even though I'm above the nine, my oscillators tell me no. Okay, because the MACD is not crossed. That's a huge one. Got a small little bump on the stochastic, and you do have some momentum. You have a smaller stock, lots of momentum into it. But again, it's above the nine, but the nine's heading down, and the oscillators don't tell me. So, yeah, can I trade this stock? Sure, I can trade any stock, but I would follow my guidelines. Instead of looking at this, going at this point, would I get into this stock? And my answer would be no. based on my trading guidelines. Could be yes, based on anyone else's trading guidelines. It's the same as what we just talked about with Willie. What was it, AMED or something like that?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, AEMD, AEMD. The same kind of thing with what Willie showed us. Okay, so can I trade this stock? Sure, but it has to be within my guidelines that I want to trade in, ones that I've used forever if I want to trade, and that's how I would do it. So, okay, yeah. So we popped above the 9 on the 50. When we go down, yeah, we weren't quite crossed over on the MACD yet, so I wouldn't have got in. You come up here, would I get in at the upper Bollinger Band? No. Would I get in at the where it is today? No. On my trading guidelines. Now, other people, momentum traders, they'll look at that and say, I don't care about any of that stuff. If it's going up 4 days in a row, I'm going to ride it until it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's okay. They have a higher risk tolerance than I do.
Hey, Mark, take a look at SE. This is one that shows up as an accumulation on my calculations.
FE?
SE, yeah. Sam
Oh, S.
Edward.
Oh, that's a nice. Watch this one too. First Energy right on its 200. So SE.
Yeah. So basically, this shows up as an accumulation position. This is one of the stocks on Kerry's watch list, I believe. On his tell sheet. So the bull case is that it's an accumulation phase. The next 20 bars, basically 20 days, 8 to 12% base case, targeting 95 to 98. The cascade down call requires panic structure. This chart doesn't have it. The bear case, the 10th man rule, the 200 days, your biggest resistance level. Historically, that has been the place where it fails, is the 200. That is supported going back to the rally since 2022. The fractal level, a daily close below 85, that's the 62 SMA breakdown, on expanding volume would confirm the grind is tipping to a cascade, not coiling. So when I look at this, I go, okay, the bull case is 8 to 12% in the next 20 days. Okay. That would probably put you up where that last big candle right there maybe, or fill that gap possibly that was way back then.
Yeah, big gap over here.
Yeah. But then it comes down to, if it got to that level, then the 200 becomes your resistance level at that point. So I'm looking at it going, okay, is this something I want to get into? It says it's an accumulation phase, which if I look at that, is just basically going back since it gapped down and then bottomed out and then moved back up around probably the 1st of May or so. Is there a move of 10 to 12% in this that I'd like to grab? And that's sort of the dilemma, that the conversation I'm having with myself is this worth the risk of a move higher or a move down, or is this potentially a move higher? What's your thoughts?
That's what I like when you say that. Is it worth the risk? Because it's all about risk management.
Yeah.
And my risk tolerance is very low. I don't want to lose money. That's why I set 2% on the downside on trades if I do trades. I hate losing money. I've worked too hard for it, and I've gone through 87. I've gone through 2000. I've gone through 2008 and everything in between, and I have lost money, and I'm not doing that again. So
yeah. Well, and the thing, like, I'm looking at it, the overall convictions, the confidence score in this projection of it going higher is only 52%. And then if I look on the 15, there's a 90% conviction rate that it will move higher. But you go out to 62 and it's only 31. So you're basically, the average it's a 50-50 potential opportunity over the next 62 days from my perspective. The conviction scores have basically gone sideways for the last 7 days. I'm below the 200, but I'm above everything else that I follow. So I think this is one that I put on my list and go, I can get a dip, possibly better. If I can go look at the fundamentals and go, okay, what's the fundamental score on this? So maybe I just run a report on it and see what it is. And that sort of checks those two boxes of my first leg and second leg. Now I'm looking at technically, I'm going, I see your green line of death. I see where the limit orders or sell orders are. I've got to have something that's going to move this to break out, to fill that gap at least.
They tried here. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah. So what would it be? And I guess that's where I go, okay, put this on the watch list and wait for some sort of confirmation that would cause it to make go, hey, this would be something I want to own.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what I go through in my head when I look at that and I go, is this an opportunity or am I just going to get punched out?
So you told me, I heard you say 50-50. And to me, I got it. I try to get at least a 70% win rate, and 50-50 is throwing the dice. To me, that's why I try to get out on a trade. In my trading plan is sell before earnings, because it's 50-50. I have no idea if it's going to go up or down. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's me personally. That's what I do personally. And other people are different. And it's not about what Trent and I do. It's about what you guys are comfortable with in your own world, in your own skin.
I think about if you were working for a institution, you every Monday morning you came to the table with your idea list. That process just of being, people trying to punch holes in the idea and you coming back with, well, here's why it would, or versus why it wouldn't. And that's really the process I think we need to adopt is, why would it work? And then why wouldn't it work? What would be the elements that cause it not to work? In this case, to me, it's just still 50-50. There's the equal weighted in that, the reasons why it would work versus why it wouldn't work. So now I wait. So a little more involved than I think a lot of people think about investing, but I think it's a good practice.
I think it all comes down to your emotions. And when you're trading or investing, you really got to set those emotions on the shelf every morning. You come and look at a screen. Emotions get people into more trouble than anything else. And if you have a set standard or plan, you stick to it. I mean, I listen to Dennis, and Dennis has a very fundamental plan about whether it's NVIDIA or it's Bank of New York Mellon, and how he looks at things, and he sticks to his plan. Kerry has a plan. Trent has a plan. I have one that I follow. Okay, so, and they're all separate, and it's whatever's good for you and what you feel good. But if you don't have a plan and you're just shooting from the hip, look at that chart go up, I'm going to chase it. You don't have a plan. Okay, and you might do well, you might not do well, you might get rug pulled. But the whole idea here is to put together the whole process for you guys in your own mind on how it works for you, through technicals, through fundamentals, through AI, what Kerry does, and give you the best possibility for a trade or investment that you can have for your own risk tolerance.
There you go.
That is 10. It's 5-9. Oh,
yeah.
Geldon has his hand up. Geldon, take yourself. There you go. How's it going?
It's going okay. So I go by more gel too. So when you're looking at something, you're saying like, oh, that's more gel. That's Geldon too.
Okay.
Question is, I had received something from a friend about Mod Mobile. It's pre-IPO. I mentioned it yesterday.
Okay.
And the thought was that Elon may take this and may buy it because it already has a MOD that's going to be on the New York Stock Exchange. So right now, they said up to the 29th, you can actually get it at 50 cents a share before pre-IPO.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the symbol on it? Is there a symbol yet or
It's
anything?
New York Stock Exchanges right now it says MOD, but it's not, it's like saved for them.
Modine?
MOD.
That's Modine.
Mobile.
Modine Manufacturing?
Supposed to be telecom phones,
Oh.
mobile phones.
Oh, mobile phone. This is different. This is Modine.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know much about that. I mean, again, you're talking about news, and news is always uh, speculative.
Yeah.
Is the war ending? Is the war not ending? Are they going to sign a peace deal? Oil's up, oil's down. Trent, what do you got? Do you think?
I I think there's so much news and speculation around this SpaceX IPO, that it just makes me, suspect of what is really going to happen, what is not. Um, why would they buy them? Why would they? What's the under, like, dig deep? What's driving this idea behind this possible teaming up with Elon? Like, how does Elon think, and how would it match up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. One of the things that when I was up here looking at my chat GPT, I don't have Grok, don't know how to use that.
yeah.
It was that currently with mode that it is currently like in Walmart, some of the lower, I wouldn't say the lower end, but some of the stores, and it's actually been selling out. And what Elon is doing now is that he's actually paying people to do things on their phone. So maybe this would just align up with what he's going to be doing.
What what is the name of the company?
MOD Mobile. I put it in general investments.
Okay. I would just put it in Grok and ask him what's the news around it.
Hmm.
Maybe it'll give
It's
something.
any of these IPOs and speculation around it is again, I did a whole deal on several options that you could get into SpaceX of companies that actually own SpaceX shares before the IPO and at what prices, and I went with this VPTRX open-end fund, uh, and very speculative. I even put out a report on it, and it's in my Discord in my office. You have to go back a couple of weeks to see it, but it gives out a bunch of ways you can get into it, what the pros and cons of each are, but it's very speculative. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I do. Well, the reason I like uh, BPTRX and why I chose that was they already have a pretty good 33% of that fund is in SpaceX, and it's a big half of it's in SpaceX or Tesla. So the guy loves Elon. He's got Elon on speed dial, so he knows him, and it shows what their average price per share was that they bought it at, and so they're already at a premium to where it's at now. So I looked at it and said, okay, at least I know I'm ahead of the game at today's level. Now the IPO could come out, it could crash, go below that level. I don't think it will, or it can come out and all this, everyone chases it up, and then that's when I'm going to get out. Okay, I'm not going to be long term in SpaceX because I looked at their financials that they came out with, and they're horrible. you know, Starlink is the only thing that's really making money, but there's going to be a lot of emotion. So, like I said, I got into it a week or two ago, and that fund is up. It's not going to be a big runner at this point, but 3.25% in 3 weeks. So that's how I'm kind of playing it because I can go look at the facts in there, what this guy has in his fund. I can look at his success rate over time. I think he's at 19% AR over the lifetime of his fund. It's Ron Barron's fund. And that's why I picked that. So I go through a logical thing in my mind. Uh, when I hear something about what you're talking about, Gelden, it just I don't know anything about it. You've dealt in it more than I do. It just seems a little speculative for me personally to go and do that. But that's just me. Uh,
According,
Go ahead.
according to Grok, I asked, uh, it's MODE Mobile.
Okay.
Um, and is Elon involved in this in any way? And basically, it basically came back and said there's no evidence that Elon is investing, partnering with, ever advising, or having an official connection with MODE Mobile at this point. But you know, her information may be, you know, through a better source. I don't know, but yeah, I would just dig deeper into it. But it's a product that you make money using your mobile phone. It's on the Android platform. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Yeah, Steve put some stuff up on the chat also. Dennis, what do you got? You guys are making us work overtime today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna leave it here with Dennis because we're gonna
I
run
just
out of time on this.
But go ahead, Dennis.
congratulations to Trent. Real quick, the fund that Mark's talking about is from Ron Barron, and Ron's a noted value investor over many, many, many years. The funny
Absolutely.
thing about Ron is he's been on Elon's speed dial forever. He and Elon are best buds. So take that with a grain of salt. It's about $240 if I remember right a share, but
Somewhere in there. Well,
it's not a bad.
you gotta buy $2,500 is the minimum.
Yeah, so that's 10 shares if it's 250 a piece, right? So
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal, but I like the fact that if you're going to play it, you might as well go on Ron's side because he's more of a value investor. The problem is he's he and Elon are as tight as that's like peanut butter and jelly. You can't separate the two. So that's all
But
I wanted to say.
I see that as an advantage though, Dennis, for people like us.
I'm just not in my crosshairs, but I did want to say Mark made a very, very, very poignant point, and that is when you've got a game plan, if you can stick to it, you can do well over time. But when you deviate, and I've done that,
Me too.
most of the time I don't do so well.
Yeah.
But so if I deviate today, it's a very, very tiny, what I call tiptoe in position. Something that's so small, if it goes up or down, it really has no effect. So
Right. And that's why I brought you up, Dennis, because you have your process that fits you and you stick to it. And that's all I ask of anyone who's in investing or trading. Find something that works for you and stick to it. And if you don't and you start deviating, like Dennis said, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
Dennis.
you. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for the interaction and good ideas. Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow being Thursday, which is wow, that went by fast.
Might be our last broadcast of the week.
Yes. And we'll be back here at the same time, same place. And in the meantime, have a good one. Be careful out there. Ask questions as you deliberate about buying or selling or holding a position. Push yourself to know more and to be better at this game. All right. You guys have a good day.
See you guys.
Peace.